Greetings, Bushman again. This time deeper in the bush. Last time we made a little video in my little Jade Bokai, like we might say in Creole. This time we deep in the bush. This is my agroforestry system. So I'm gonna be taking you around, showing you the different trees that I'm planting and the different crops that I'm planting. The goal is to turn this whole place into a fruitful Zion, a fruitful orchard. I've been doing this garden for just over a year now, a year and a few months. I've been planting cocoa, planting dasheen, planting ginger, guava, soursop, and some other things. The goal is to turn this entire space into a fruitful Zion, a fruitful orchard, you know. I take most of my inspiration from what they call syntropic agroforestry, and also from the Maroons and from the Kalinagos. Today I'm going to be planting a little bit of cocoa and a little bit of vanilla, and I'm going to be showing you guys around. So yeah man, I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's make a little spin around my garden. So like I said, this is agroforestry. We're planting different trees. So here we have a guava tree. This is a tree that is about a year old, and you can see it's growing quite nicely. You see, guava is one of the richest fruits in vitamin C, and the leaves can be used medicinally for diarrhea. Guava actually comes from an Arawak word. I'm not going to attempt to say it, but guava is an indigenous Caribbean word and an indigenous Caribbean tree. So when we plant it in the forest here, it's adapted to the soil and to the climate, just like cocoa, which we have here. This is also indigenous, and they appreciate the cool climate, the shade of the trees. Cocoa is usually grown in the forest, and even when they don't plant cocoa in the forest, they have to plant either banana or gliricidia first to make shade for the cocoa. So, but here the cocoa is happy because the cocoa has all the shade that it would need. So we're going to be seeing a lot of cocoa as we walk around this garden. Some soursop, another indigenous tree. Some more soap, savonnette, and some more cocoa. So here we have some banana. This is not indigenous to the Caribbean, but it appreciates the humid climate. So, and it's very useful to produce biomass, you know, like the leaves from the banana trees is what I use to make up a lot of the biomass in my compost piles, and the leaves are very rich in carbon also. So I'll show you some of that later also. So you're going to be seeing a lot of banana around the climate because they produce good biomass to enrich the soil, and they like the humid climate. We have a soursop tree. I just amended this tree with some nice compost just the other day, you know, a nice soil amendment. It's an excellent fruit that is indigenous to the Caribbean, and the leaves are used medicinally for cancer, for sleep, and even the fruit also. And it's one of the most delicious fruits you could ever try. But
I agree.
You're gonna have to wait like 5-6 years for that to make fruit, you know.
I was gonna say, how long will it take to grow?
I mean, most of the trees you see here are like a year old, some of them even younger. So they're gonna take at least 4, 5, 6 years to produce fruit. So to make an orchard, it takes a lot of patience, you know, a lot of patience, because I'm coming here to clean, I'm coming here to bring compost. Sometimes I have to water and all of that. And the harvest is years in the future, you know, so it takes a lot of patience and dedication.
Okay.
A lot of patience and dedication. Here we have some wild vervain. In French they call this vervain queue de rat. It's a good herb for the nervous system. I just let this grow wild, you know, and then when I want to make a tea, I will take some of it and make my tea. I don't always bother chopping everything down, because when you observe the way that the ecosystem functions, it's really giving you a lot of blessings, man. It's really giving you a lot of blessings, things that you can use medicinally or things that you can use for soap. Like my garden is covered with soap bush, you know. I'll show you some of that. Like for example, this is soap bush, man. The French call it, the Guadeloupeans call it bonbon bleu. You understand? But English call it soap bush. You take this leaf, I can show you that at the river later, and you rub it with some water. It makes soap. You know, so like I said,
I'd like to see it.
I have 2 plants in my garden that make soap. One of them is wild and one of them I planted myself.
Okay, so you know, I've seen this many times. Many times. Never knew it was soap.
Now you know.
Yeah, now I know. What?
And it also makes a little fruit which you can eat. I don't know if you've tried it before, but I'm sure we'll be able to find some as we walk around. So here I have some dasheen. They call it made also locally. They enjoy the humid climate of the forest. They don't require a lot of light. So that's another thing, you're gonna see quite a lot of that in the garden. It's a starchy root vegetable, kind of similar to yam, but at the same time different. They like humid environments with shade, and they like a lot of water. So this is like a perfect environment for them. It's not actually indigenous to the Caribbean. It comes from Asia, but it's been very well adapted to the Caribbean. And since we're in a forest environment next to the river, I chose to plant quite a lot of that, because traditionally in the Caribbean we plant dasheen by the rivers, in the places where it's humid. We have a breadfruit tree. I planted a few of those in here. It's another thing which is not native to the Caribbean but has adapted itself very well. You can find them growing in the forest. So I said to myself, if my goal is food security and to produce to make an agroforestry system where everything is adapted, well, I have to have breadfruit, you know. That's why the Europeans brought it here, you know. They imported it from Polynesia for the purpose of feeding the slaves, because breadfruit is another superfood and it produces 4 times a year. Here we got some more bananas, and in between the bananas, you might think I'm a bit crazy, but in between the bananas I planted another guava tree. Because eventually I want the trees to take over this place, you know. Like for now I have dasheen, I have bananas and all of that, but that's just so I can harvest something while I'm waiting for the trees. Because like I said, I have to be very patient, like 5, 6, 7 years I'll wait for these trees to, so I plant in bananas and things alongside so I can harvest something in between, you know. But eventually I want the trees to take over. So you can imagine when these make bananas, I'm gonna chop them down and all that biomass gonna go back to the soil, and it's gonna enrich the soil for the benefit of the tree, and it's just gonna be one beautiful cycle, you know. So that's why you see bananas almost everywhere in my garden. Here you have another guava tree. I think it might have a slight little issue, you know. I see some stains on the leaves and thing. I need to get to the bottom of that, but I brought some compost the other day, so that's gonna give it some strength, you know, strength to fight whatever is troubling it. You can see some wild vervain there, some more cocoa too. See the cocoa there. This is pigeon peas. Once again, I don't plant it to make peas. I mean, the environment is too humid for that. I just plant it so it can fix nitrogen into the soil, and so that I can chop it down for the biomass, you know. That's the reason why I plant pigeon peas. There's a little dasheen plant there. A little lime tree there, quite young. Some more bananas. Some more vetiver grass. I want to come over here and show you some of my cocoa. We have some ginger. Another crop which appreciates the humid environment. Right next to a little lime tree. Ginger has a reputation of being aphrodisiac, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's good for a lot of things, you know, but that's one of the things that ginger has a reputation for. And I already planted and harvest ginger here, and it went well. So I just kept on planting ginger ever since then. I kind of got the idea from going to Dominica, you know, and kind of observing what they do. Because I'm right by a river here, and it's a humid environment. Dominica has 365 rivers, and I see they're planting a lot of dasheen, they're planting a lot of ginger. So that's why I kind of got the idea from, to start planting dasheen and ginger, and kind of never looked back since then, you know. But ginger is good for a lot of things, man. And even these leaves, they have the scent of the ginger, you know. Like the leaves. Have you ever smelled the ginger leaf?
Let me try.
Come and smell that, man. It has the same scent of the gingembre, you know.
Absolutely.
So you can actually use that in your dishes as well, you know. If you want to take a gingembre leaf and season up a dish with it, you don't even need to wait for the root to produce.
Yeah.
You can actually use the leaves. And these are the kind of things people don't know. Only farmers know these things.
And then next to your plant, you have a citrus plant.
Yeah, man. I have a lime tree. A lime tree which is growing quite nicely. This is another thing that I was advised. They like the cool climate, so I started to plant them. I got a few of them around the place. And just the other day also, you know, I was doing a round composting up the place. I put some compost below them because, like I said in the other videos, the agrume family, they need a lot of organic matter. So I try to make as much compost as I can in the farm. I'll show you that later. I have like 3 compost piles working right now. And I always try like every month to start a new one. Because the soil here, to tell the truth, is kind of poor, you know. The soil here is not rich. And because it's on a slope, there's a risk of erosion with the rain and whatnot. So that's why I let the weeds grow, and that's why I try to put a decent amount of organic matter and plant a decent amount of trees so that they can hold the soil in place. Because if not, all the topsoil will just be gone in no time. If I make the soil naked and the rain coming down and the sun striking it and the wind blowing it, then in no time I'll have no nutrients left in my soil. Because that's what happened to them in Haiti, you know. Haiti is a mountainous island. Like Haiti in Taino means highland or something like that. So Haiti is all hills, you know, and Haiti, they make a lot of charcoal. So they did a lot of deforestation, and then when you don't have no roots to hold the soil, when the rain comes, it's taking away the topsoil, and that's why you have a lot of regions in Haiti, they have poor soil, you know, because of erosion. So that's coffee right there, man. That's coffee right there, man. Coffee is another crop which likes the forest environment. And you see I plant it under the shade of the banana trees. So they're not only enjoying the shade, but they're gonna enjoy the biomass. You know, all this biomass which is going to the soil, alongside the compost going to the soil. And you know, the trunks, when I harvested my first bunch of plantains from there not long ago, so I cut the thing and put it on the soil. The coffee is enjoying all of that, man. You know, it's going to be a patient wait to have my homegrown coffee, maybe another 4 or 5 years. But you know, I stay patient and disciplined in the meantime. And on the other side, we have some cocoa planted in the same style under the banana trees. You know, very much enjoying the shade. Because you have crops which like sun, you know, but you have crops which don't like the sun. So cocoa, coffee, dashina, those kind of crops. So that's why I plant a lot of them. Because I'm in a very particular climate. There's a lot of things you could plant in a lot of places that you couldn't plant here. So I had to adapt to my ecosystem, you know, and choose the crops very carefully. Like a lot of farmers, they try to adapt nature to them, but me, I adapt myself to nature. So here you can see, you know, right next to the cocoa and the banana, another coffee tree, you know, which is coming along nicely. We have compost below, and I put some coconut mulch on top to try and stop the weeds from growing, because all this is just me and my machete against the world. I don't have no tools to help me weed this place. It's just me and my machete against the world. So I try to put in place, you know, little systems which can make the job a little bit easier for me, you know. So we can keep going down. Here we have a couple of banana trees and a couple of dasheen plants. Over here we've got a bread nut tree, or what they call in Creole châtain. You know,
it looks like
breadfruit.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, same family.
Yeah.
Same family. They're cousins. And I brought some compost just the other day. You know, it's a very good feeling putting homegrown, homemade compost under your trees. You know, a very, very good feeling. So he's coming along nicely, and behind me we got some more dasheen. It's probably some of the best looking dasheen in the garden, man, because it's at the bottom where it takes all of the water, because dasheen likes water, you know. In Asia they grow in dasheen in the swamps. So you see, I don't know if you noticed, there's a canal that comes down the garden there. When it rains, you see plenty water flowing here. It's like a little river that flows in, and the dasheen just drinks all of it. It just drinks all of it. And this is what Guadeloupeans call callaloo, isn't it? Guadeloupeans eat dasheen leaves as callaloo.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I'm not aware.
When it comes to Easter, this is what they eat, man. Because these leaves are edible as well, man.
Okay.
Because people be asking me for this when it's Easter time. I never eat the leaves before, you know, or maybe somebody make it for me, but I never cook them. But the leaves are also edible, and they produce a tuber, you know, a nice root vegetable.
Yeah. Do you like dashing?
Yeah, man, I like all them kind of hard food. Yam, cassava, dasheen, green banana, all of those things, man.
Okay, so one thing you haven't shown me yet, maybe I'll be surprised, but I haven't seen no manioc.
No, I don't plant manioc here because it's too humid.
Okay.
I tried to plant manioc way at the beginning, you know, but the environment is too humid for manioc. Manioc likes dry ground. It can't grow in this kind of land. It will make leaves, but it won't make no manioc. It won't make no cassava. It will just make leaves, and when you pull it up, you'll find skinny little roots. So that's why I had to start planting dasheen, because dasheen likes the water. But manioc is a crop that can grow in a drought. You know what I mean? So it goes back to adapting to my environment, you know?
Yeah.
I tried to plant manioc, but the environment said to me, no, you can't grow manioc here. So I had to adapt. Even yam. There are some varieties of yam I could probably get away with. Like I've already grown and harvested yam here before, you know. But I wasn't satisfied with the size of the yams because yam doesn't like water. This is a land which has a lot of water in the land. It's a very humid environment, so I have to adapt, you know. So that's why I don't plant yam, I don't plant manioc, I don't plant sugarcane, I don't plant corn, because they won't get enough sun and they'll have too much water, so they won't grow. So I have to plant things that like water and that like shade and that like humidity. You know, so that's why you see a lot of the same crops, because I'm limited for options in this kind of environment, you know. Some ginger just starting to push its head out of the ground there. This is younger. I don't like to plant everything in one go because that means I have everything at once.
Why?
I just like it like that. Then I have fresh things to use, you know. Instead of for me to have ginger every 4 or 5 months in mass, I would rather have a little bit every month, you know. So that's why it's like I plant this one, it's soon ready, and then this one here is younger. So you know, when this one finished, then by the time it finished, I probably have fresh ginger from this, you know. So my goal is not to sell, so I don't need to harvest in big quantities, you know. Carpenter's bush. And carpenter's bush is another thing that likes the humid environment, man. I mean, I read that in Mexico they grow wild across the riverbanks, so you know they're quite well adapted. And that reminds me, I think I'm supposed to take some of this. I have somebody that asked me for carpenter's bush just the other day, you know, swollen ankle.
Well, guess what?
What?
My ankle is swollen also.
Oh well, I need to take some for you as well then. What happened to your ankle, man? Basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been going for 3 weeks now.
You need to put some carpenter's bush in your life, man. But this one is sick, man. That's a sickness. Have to rip it out, I think, you know, because it can infect the ones next to it. Have to rip that out, man, and just throw it in the bush, man. That's what they call the Mardel mosaic virus, man. And as far as I know, there's no way to treat it, so I just have to rip it out so it doesn't affect the neighbors. Because you see, as a neighbor here, his neighbor isn't sick yet, so I hope it stays that way, you know.
Yeah.
There's plenty wasps in my garden, you know. You know what wasps are?
Worcester?
Wasps.
Wasps?
Wasps. Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was the word for it.
Guêpes, je laisse plein de guêpes dans mon jardin because they eat all the things that eat my crops. You understand? You see right there, there's a little wasp nest right there. There's one there. There's a bigger one there. You'll see, hopefully 5 years time there'll be coconuts in these, man.
And them a pre-out, teacher sign me and me gone now. Everybody know about Sean now. So when bad mind a try stop me, every day me pray chant the psalms.
I got it.
Me cheddar every day and night. No busy doing fighting at your eyesight. Jah help those who help themselves. Him run my life so just in case I didn't know. I'm my life. Work hard every day, thank God, just to make a little dough. I'm my life. I just sweat on my brow, things slow, but me love my life. And if you want to make it